New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins. Just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag. The one you stole from your ex. Or your overpriced half a studio apartment. Or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar. Triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a Vitamin Water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
It's generally accepted that Canadians are universally known to be exceptionally polite. We make saying sorry an Olympic sport. Heck, we're even sorry about being sorry. But is a Canadian rock band made up of blood-sucking vampires also polite? Find out as we attempt to see if suck doesn't suck and is actually not that bad. Welcome, one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades and B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Duluth, Georgia, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? So, I have made no bones about the fact that we are Canadian through and through. And to all of our listeners around the world, thank you for listening to a bunch of idiot Canucks with microphones in their basement talking about films that the critics decided to poo-poo upon. And this is one of them. And then this is one of those movies that has been on our whiteboard for the better part, I would say, of about 2 years. It's a movie called Suck. And trust me when I say it does not. You know who else doesn't suck? My lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
And that was your intro.
I thought it was okay.
Wow. I don't suck. Sorry.
You don't suck.
Sorry, not
You're
sorry.
okay. You don't suck.
Oh, well, okay. Thanks.
Well, I try to be, I keep my compliments in check. We don't want to, sit there and make all the other couples out there in the world too jealous,
Well, you're okay too.
You don't suck.
You don't suck.
Right? Okay, so we've been talking about this film for a long time. And the moment finally came because, dear listeners, if you do listen to our There Can Only Be One music podcast, you'll know that just yesterday we went through the entire discography of Alice Cooper. And now we have a film where Alice Cooper is a main part of it. So in this symbol of synergisticness, that's not even a word, but I'm going to take it. We have gotten to the time where we can take this movie off the whiteboard and finally delve into it during our Spooktember little celebration here. When we finally put this on a record schedule. Carrie, how excited were you?
I have been waiting for this movie. Remember, I found it somehow, whether it was on a free, freebie table at work, or I think maybe it was even in like the dollar bin at, I don't know, dollar store or something. I remember finding this DVD and searching it up and realizing that it qualified, not knowing anything about this movie. I just saw, oh yeah, it's got Alice Cooper, Iggy Pop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vampire movie. How fun is this? It looks fun. I'm going to just pick it up for $1.
Yeah.
Or free or whatever it was.
It was not expensive. Let's be honest.
We have had this movie in our possession sealed for way too long.
And it was time to bust it open. But I remember being excited because the movie, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but the movie comes from the mind of a man who put together a film called Phil the Alien. And this is another one of those little made in Canada gems. And we're going to get our Canuck on a whole lot during this episode. Sorry, not sorry. And to all of our listeners not in Canada, please bear with us. We want to introduce you to something that you may not be aware of. And it's a shame if you're not, because this is one of those rare little silly, fun movies that it's a bit of a gem. And I am so stoked that we had this moment in Spooktember to talk about Suck. But before we get there, before we dive into like the meat and potatoes of this, it is time to take this Canadian, not classic.
It should be.
It should be, absolutely.
It's as good as maple syrup.
Yeah, but maybe I'm about to say the most non-Canadian thing ever. Maple syrup sucks. Yeah, I said it.
Bacon on poutine?
Okay, you reeled me back in. I'm gonna grab my Joe Louis.
And not like Canadian bacon, not like
No,
female bacon or ham.
Real freaking bacon.
Real freaking bacon.
We're gonna get our Canadian accoutrement, take this film, and trailerize it.
Every band is looking for that thing. That unknowable quantity that will gain them fame and fortune. But what if that thing includes drinking the blood of friends, bandmates, touring mates, random gas station attendants, and groupies? Get to the back of the line, Led Zeppelin. The road is about to get weird and suck. When a band of losers called the Winners lets their bass player run it with some weirdo without even helping to load out the gear, all hell breaks loose. Now, Joey must keep his band together, keep his ex-girlfriend vampire bassist from killing everyone they meet, and keeping his manager's hands off his now other ex-girlfriend. All the while, they'll make their way to New York City for a shot at the big time, but only if they survive. From the mind behind Phil the Alien comes Suck, an ironically titled film rated 14A for all the rock stars you can fit in one film.
I have been waiting all week for this. And you did not disappoint.
I'm glad I didn't disappoint. Dear listeners, you're welcome.
You literally summed up the movie. Now our viewers don't have to watch it, but please, you do need to watch this.
Wait, I've covered everything?
You pretty much.
Well, dear listeners, you guys know the... No, I'm kidding. We're not ending the show right now. This isn't the shortest episode of It's Not That Bad in history. Now, we got to talk about this film because there is a lot to talk about. But let's get into who is in the film. The movie stars Rob Stefaniak, Jessica Paré, Paul Anthony, Mike Lobel, Chris Ratz, and here's where the names get really familiar: Alice Cooper, Malcolm McDowell, Dimitri Coates, Iggy Pop, Dave Foley, somehow Moby, Henry Rollins, Alex Lifeson, Nicole DeBoer, Carol Pope, and Calico Cooper. It was written and directed by Rob Stefaniak. Because as I mentioned before, he is the guy who wrote and directed and starred in Phil the Alien, which is another one of those weird, quirky Canadian gems, which also stars Nicole DeBoer. Now, if that name sounds familiar, then clearly you watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine because she became Ezri Dax after Dax kind of changed into a different body. The film had a budget of $3.5 million, which I can only assume is Canadian. Worldwide only had a gross of, settle in here, $1,167. That's it. That's it. According to thenumbers.com, when it was released in only one theater on the July 16th, 2010 weekend, it finished at number 107.
Okay, but it was released in July.
One theater.
That timing could have been made better if it was released in October.
Fair enough. Now keep in mind, that weekend, the box office was dominated by one movie. In its debut, July 16th, 2010, number one film with a gross of $100 million was Inception. But also out that week, listen to this top five, okay? Despicable Me was in its second week with 51 million. The Sorcerer's Apprentice was at number 3 with 25 million. The Twilight Saga Eclipse was at number 4 in its fourth week, and Toy Story 3 was in its fifth week at number 5. So even the number 5 film has $19.5 million, and that's in 3,000 plus theaters.
Okay, but this was released in one theater?
One theater, yes. One theater and made not much.
Where? In Toronto?
I have no idea where that theater is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Canadian theater. But you know what the funny thing is? You take a look at this list.
Probably a Rainbow Theater, like
oh God, you mentioned Rainbow Theater.
Bay Street or something. It's not even like right downtown.
Right.
Like in Vaughan. Mississauga.
We put up a screen in front of the garage door at our neighbor's house there when we got like this little thing off of Amazon and put it in a laptop and shot it that way. That's what we did. Also, can we do that? However, box office aside, this film actually got some accolades. At the 2010 Calgary Underground Film Festival, the movie won for Audience Award for Best Film. At the 2010 Canadian Comedy Awards, Jessica Paré was nominated for Best Performance by a Female in a Film, but lost to Kristen Booth for At Home by Myself with You. At the 2010 Directors Guild of Canada Awards, it was nominated for Outstanding Achievement in Sound Editing, but lost to Chloe. And at the 2011 Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, Jessica Paré was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but lost to Barbara Hershey for Black Swan. But the reason why we are here, not just because this is a movie about vampires, are the critics. The movie at Rotten Tomatoes has a tomatometer of 44%, with a popcorn meter of 53. Over at IMDb, it sits at 60%. At Letterboxd, 3 stars out of 5 for a 60% score. And at the movie database, sits at 63%, giving this film an aggravated aggregate of 56%. So when it comes to the movies that we have been covering so far in Spooktember, this is kind of on the higher end of things. 44% to 63%, that range. Is this movie within that range, or is it better or worse than that?
If you're asking me.
I am asking you, as a matter of fact.
But I watch movies very differently, as we know. I loved this movie. I would put it in the high 80s, personally.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm not a movie critic. And I can see.
Also, why aren't we paid as movie critics?
I know, but we're like the anti-critics. We're like the critic busters.
Can the anti-critic become the critic?
I think so.
Is this like a Batman thing where if you're the hero long enough, you find yourself becoming the villain?
Are we villains? Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
We should be the goodies. I mean, I loved this movie. I loved everything about it. We're about to talk about it, and I will elaborate further later. But oh my God, I love this movie. This is going to be on high rotation for me.
Okay, so we are completely biased in this episode.
Yes.
All right.
Welcome to Only Murders in the Building,
The official podcast.
Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin? No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, now streaming wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by FXX and Hulu. An all-new season of Futurama is back, blending heartfelt moments with razor-sharp humor while accidentally saving the day. The Planet Express crew is back, defying gravity and common sense. From the creator of The Simpsons comes 10 new episodes, where the romance is hotter, the threats are bigger, and the action hits harder. Don't miss the all-new season of Futurama. Watch it Mondays on FXX or stream it on Hulu.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition Gold Sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Well, let's get to the breakdown of this movie. We start, of course, with Rob Stefaniak, who played Joey. This is the lead singer of The Winners. Do you know how hard? Okay, every now and then you get something stuck in your head, right? And you have to remind yourself not to write it down, even though it's stuck in your head. So, I love the movie That Thing You Do. And I know our good friend Brian over at My Weekly Mixtape loves the movie That Thing You Do. Do you know how many times I had to stop myself from writing The Wonders when I was actually doing my notes for this? It's The Winners, not The Wonders. They should do a tour together, The Winners and The Wonders.
But that's the irony of it. And you know what I love, though, is that if I'm not mistaken, he not only wrote the movie, but wrote a lot of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's some incredible dedication and talent, because the songs weren't bad.
No, you know what? They aren't bad at all. It's a weird thing about this film where it's like, yes, you do have a song in the end credits by the one, the only, Alice Cooper.
Because of course you do.
You have to, yeah. But the songs from The Winners in this band, they're kind of catchy as hell. I wouldn't mind the soundtrack to this movie.
I wonder if it's on Spotify. Have you looked?
I have not looked.
We should check it out.
We will have to check that out. And by the way, if by some chance it's on Spotify, I will put it on the website. But if you go to the website and you don't see anything there, then it's not there. So I'm sorry. But yeah, Rob Stefaniak as Joey, your thoughts?
I loved everything about his performance. I loved that he definitely embodies, like, I don't even think he's acting. He must be that damn good as an actor, because he was so similar in Phil the Alien.
Phil the Alien, yeah.
But yet, it has to be his performance. He is so kind of like the loser that you're rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
The loser, the lovable loser that you want to see win.
And the fact that the band name is The Winners. Okay. Here, let me put my bias out here on Front Street, okay? I love Phil the Alien. It's this weird, quirky little film. And I'll admit, like, I'm also a Nicole DeBoer fan, right? I liked her in Deep Space Nine. I actually didn't mind her in Metal Tornado, which is a film that she did with Lou Diamond Phillips. I don't mind her in these less than critically acclaimed films. Phil the Alien was funny. It's quirky. And there's a weird Canadiana sense to it, such as there is with here. Now, admittedly, too, a lot of this film is shot in Toronto, and we're here. We've seen these clubs. We know some of these locations, so there's a little point and go, you know that meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood of Leo DiCaprio sitting in his chair and pointing at the TV?
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah.
We were those people. We were that meme.
Let's be honest. I did the exact same thing watching the Mickey Mouse horror movie. I was like, oh my God, I was just there in Ottawa.
Yes.
At Sonny's restaurant.
No, and Fun Haven. Don't forget Fun Haven.
Oh my God, the entire movie took place there.
Mousetrap has told us that we can never go to Fun Haven again.
All I could think is they must have used a lot of Clorox on the ballroom.
Oh my God.
The amount of Purell they needed on the windows.
What kids you want to go play in there? Here, have some hand sanitizer.
Yeah, no, you don't go to that play structure. Don't touch anything.
Right. But I mean, the concept of a band of vampires, I mean, this isn't new, right? Hell, we've covered a movie like that already. It was called Rockula.
Mm-hmm.
But even Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat kind of has that storyline going on. So this isn't a new concept, but maybe it's the amount of maple syrup and Molson Canadian in us, but like there's something almost oddly patriotic about watching a film like this that you know is uniquely Canadian, and it kind of brings a warm little glow to your heart.
I have to ask you, as a member of a band, your band...
A few bands, yes.
A few. Your bands, we often coin the term bamily, right? A band becomes a family.
Yes.
And did you not have a certain connection with when Joey was sitting down at the diner and it starts to become clear that the bassist is a vampire and this is what they're dealing with, and he's making a list of rules for the band?
I mean, I have never had to tell a band member not to kill anyone.
Not yet.
Not yet, but the day is still young. No, but there is this family sense of being in a band, you know, because you connect at the musical level, right? So yeah, the band, the winners in this movie kind of fits that mold. And yeah, it's Joey's band, obviously. And of course, there's this interesting dynamic because it's inferred that he and Jennifer, the bassist, had a relationship in the past, and then that didn't work out so well. And then he got into another relationship, and that's not going so well now that Jennifer has become a vampire, and there's this weird vibe going on. You know, things just don't go well for Joey, but yet he's trying to steer this band towards this big showcase in New York City. Because this, in his mind, you know, he has faith in his bandmates. He has faith in the songs. He has faith that they can get to the showcase, then they'll make it big. And even the point where it's like people start talking about the band, but it's because of Jennifer's aura on stage after she becomes a vampire, even though no one's calling her a vampire. He's just like, all right, but let's just get to the showcase. There's just something genuinely earnest about Joey. Like, he's not jealous. He's not a dick to his band. He's just trying to get to this showcase. And there's something likable about that.
Well, I mean, he's very driven and focused. You're absolutely right. But he's also always stressed out because he's aware. He's, again, the lovable loser that's self-aware that he and his band have always kind of been the underdogs. And he believes in the product. He believes in the band and wants to see them succeed. And yet there's that stress or that almost he's so used to being defeated that it becomes like this is so much more important to him. But now he has the additional stressor of, will his bassist wind up killing people along the way? Or are they going to get, you know, busted for the murders of, let's say, a radio DJ live on air That was kind of...
It happens.
Could have been career limiting. It could have.
Take that, Howard Stern.
It seemed to, I don't know, skyrocket them or make them the most dangerous band out of Toronto.
Well, I mean, if Ozzy Osbourne can walk into like a record exec meeting, bite the head off a dove and then call it a day, you know. Jessica Perret, who plays Jennifer, the bassist, the first person to be turned into a vampire from this band. Your thoughts on her?
So absolutely adorable. I loved in the beginning her innocence, and I loved how she carried herself as a vampire. At first, when she's trying to hide it from her band, and then it just gets weirder and weirder, and eventually, after the pit stop that they made, it becomes far more clear that when she feeds, she looks more healthy, and then she starts to go very pale. And almost dead-like. So just, you know what? She played both sides of it so well. So well.
Now, keep in mind, we've talked about Jessica Perret before over on Keep Watch Pass. If you remember back on Canada Day, we did that episode on movies directed by Canadians. And she's the star of that movie, Stardom, I was talking about, where it's a model, so it's a hockey player turned model kind of thing, and everything follows her career trajectory through the eye of the media. I loved her in that film. That film was powerful as hell. This is obviously not that film. And I'll admit, at first I was just like, oh, Jessica Perret, what have you done? Because the whole scene where they're turning her, it was a little weird.
That scene was weird. You know what it reminded me of? It was kind of like that party scene in Babylon.
I could see that a little bit, yeah.
Just strange shit is happening around the main characters. And it's almost kind of like shot in the round. And the camera's just spinning.
See, that part reminded me a little bit of that 70s show where, you know, they're in the basement and everyone's smoking up kind of thing. The camera keeps turning around to different people.
Yeah, okay, so I can see that.
I got that kind of vibe. I will admit, Vampire Jennifer, I liked way more than making a vampire Jennifer.
But you know what? That is acting.
Yes.
That is the before and after. That is the meek and almost like she was the bassist, almost kind of like in the background. Not, the center of attention. But the minute that she turns into a vampire, the audience is drawn to her. They're intrigued by her.
There's an aura. There's a hypnoticness to her.
Right. And it was important that at that point is when she became more front and center.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? Go back to Ginger Snaps. And when Catherine Isabel starts to turn into like the werewolf and she has this almost like animal magnetism to her and she's walking through the school with this brand new confidence.
Well, wasn't that also Teen Wolf?
Teen Wolf a little bit, but Ginger Snaps, I think, more so. But I mean, even to that token, right? You take a look at even a movie like Eurotrip, right? Michelle Trachtenberg, the late Michelle Trachtenberg, phenomenal actress. And there's that moment where she's like decides she's going to get like, a suntan on the beach kind of thing. And there's that moment where everyone realizes like, oh, she's not just so-and-so's little sister. She's a girl. Jessica Perret kind of has that moment. Jennifer has that moment in this. Like after becoming a vampire, all the shots of her on stage are like this slow-mo aura kind of vibe. And it's just like, but it's not overt. It's just, the hair is flowing, the light is there, and everyone's just entranced with her. But it's not sleazy at all.
And the makeup. It's that mix of like blood red and black lipstick that just pops.
Yes.
And the paleness, the makeup that they put on her skin to make her look so pale, but the blood red lips that pop and the teeth, when they did show the teeth, were just like perfect because she was what you would expect as a vampire that if she doesn't feed, she goes very pale and gaunt and almost dead-like. But the living dead.
It's also a comedy, though, and it leans into those comedy tropes. Like that moment that you talked about at the gas stop on their way down to Buffalo, right? Where she like pops out a straw and jabs it into the guy's neck, even after he has zero game, that guy. He thinks he's got game. He's got zero game.
Okay, can we talk about that? Because even in Vamps, they would put a straw in a rat and just drink. Now, I'm not great with science. However, and I've seen plastic straws.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it were a metal straw, I could maybe get behind, possibly.
None of this paper straw.
But if you've got a plastic straw, it's no way near gonna like puncture. I mean, unless you hit the jugular.
But to the same token, they're coming in from the side, right? It's not like they're going for the carotid artery. Yeah. Like, go for the part with the blood, people. Come on. Let's talk about the rest of the band just a little bit briefly here, because really they don't go too much into the guitarist and the drummer. We're talking about Paul Anthony, who played Tyler, and Mike Lobo, who plays Sam. And really, the biggest thing about these two is when they get to the radio station, they decide to feed upon the DJ. But your thoughts on the rest of the winners?
Do you know what I loved is each one of them had their own unique look.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like a band that this is their shtick and this is how they look. Like Weezer.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you went there, didn't you?
I'm just saying.
There's the guy with the glasses and everybody else.
You know, maybe like Green Day, I would liken them as their look to be like, because you've got literally, when you think about it, right? You've got Joey, the lead singer, who kind of looks like a discount Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach.
Actually, I think he looks a little bit more like a peroxide blonde-ish Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah. Okay, but you get the idea. You know, he's got like the leather jacket, and that's about it, right? Not anything overly rock star.
Yes.
But then
you've got Jessica Paré, who is giving some very, like, if we're going to put an image here, dear listeners, Melissa Aufdemer, who was the bassist for Hole on the Celebrity Skin album. I was getting some vibes, like those kind of vibes off of Jessica Paré.
Okay, but then you've got what would look like the punk, like, you know, piercings and like the cut leather vest and just like the, you know, kind of like punk looking, was it the drummer or the guitarist? But then the other one kind of looked more like, again, like a normal,
you know what this is?
Person.
You know what this is? This is Bono, Edge, and the other guys.
Oh.
Sorry, Larry Mullen Jr. I'm sorry. But still, it's Bono, Edge, and the other guys. But I mean, at no point did this film lean into like weird band drama kind of thing. It's a light comedy, you know? It's not grotesque. It's not gory. It's fun. This is one of those films where, like, if you have like a teenager who likes goofy stuff, this is the kind of film you could watch with them. I would watch this with our boys.
I have a question, though.
Okay. Would
you trust our boys with Alice Cooper?
Yes, I would. We're talking real Alice Cooper. We're not talking the Alice Cooper character from the movie, right?
Yes, exactly. Oh, yes. More on that later. No, the reason I've been holding off on this story, I learned something this past week about Alice Cooper. And did you know that Keanu Reeves' mother entrusted her young Kiki was how Alice knew him. So Key, right, was a young boy, 4 years old, living in Toronto. And Alice Cooper was recording one of his albums in Toronto, lived in the same apartment building. And there were like, I don't know, I guess they were friends, Alice and Keanu Reeves' mother. And there was like maybe 3 hours in a day that she needed a babysitter. So Alice would take Keanu Reeves to the recording studio and let him play with the recording studio cat. And yeah, Alice Cooper was Keanu Reeves' babysitter for a spell in history.
How old was he at this point?
4. He was 4 years old.
That is
fascinating.
I am. I'm absolutely fascinated by this.
The cool thing is, when I saw this news story, I saw both sides of it. So it was an interview with Keanu Reeves, and he was talking about how he used to be babysat by Alice Cooper. And then Alice Cooper's take is, yeah, I had the time and I just knew him as Key, and we would go to the recording studio and he would just hang out and play with his toys or the cat, and Alice would record his album in Toronto somewhere. So they lived in the same apartment building near the recording studio.
And Keanu was 4 years old at this point.
4-year-old Keanu Reeves, yeah. How cool is that?
That is weird and fascinating all at the same time.
Isn't it a wonderful story? I love it. I absolutely, and it's legit. Like, I saw both sides of their interviews and they were talking about the same event, same core memory. So yeah, Alice Cooper, side job, babysitter.
I wonder which album that was. Like,
I don't know.
I'm doing the research here, and I don't know what city that's in even, right? Because, Keanu Reeves was born 1964. So
68.
Right. So 68, that would have put him in, I guess, the Pretties for You era, like the first album kind of thing. Fascinating. I am so ridiculously fascinated by this. Can you imagine?
I have been holding on to this story. I have been trying not to let it leak. Every time I'm talking to you about Alice Cooper, I'm like, I can't mention it until the recording.
Which is
there you go,
interesting, because Pretties for You was recorded at Whitney Studios in Los Angeles. And then, of course, you have Easy Action, which was 1970, but was recorded during 1969. So that could have been it. But that was recorded at Sunwest Studios in Hollywood as well. And Love It to Death was recorded in Chicago. So maybe it was the Love It to Death album.
I'm pretty sure they said it was in Toronto.
Interesting. Because I don't even know the last time he recorded in Toronto. I'd have to do some research into that, because I'm just quickly scrolling through here. I see New York City.
And all I can think is
Chicago.
I didn't know that Keanu Reeves was from Toronto. Is he Canadian?
You know what it is? I guarantee you. Okay, so do the math. Maybe he wasn't 4 years old, but Welcome to My Nightmare was partly recorded at Soundstage in Toronto. So that could be it. So maybe he wasn't 4 years old.
Okay. But to be fair, Keanu's memory was like, Alice Cooper was not, with the makeup and the crazy hair. He was probably just, his hair back in a ponytail, just a regular, guy that his mom knew, a trusted family friend. And yeah, so he would go to the studio and, hang out, play with his toys and the studio cat. And I guess, yeah, they lived in an apartment close to the recording studio in Toronto.
Which I guess would have been Soundstage in Toronto. Okay.
They definitely mentioned Toronto, though.
Okay.
So there you go.
So it had to be during his solo era. Okay, fair enough. Chris Ratz, who played Hugo. This is the winner's roadie. This is their do everything guy. Your thoughts on Hugo?
Oh my God. Just looking at him makes me smile. And the fact that he was the first in the band to find out
about Jennifer, yeah.
About Jennifer having turned or feeding. Mm. And just his reaction, the scream, and then he's like, "Hey, can you turn me?" Like he's
their Renfield.
Yeah.
He's absolutely their Renfield.
Oh my God, yes he is.
But you know what's funny? As I'm watching Hugo in this, I had the weirdest parallel. And I know you will pick up on this the minute I say it. He's Manuel from Faulty Towers.
Do you know what? I would have actually given him from 30 Rock, the Page.
Oh, Kenneth the Page.
Yeah, Kenneth the Page.
No, I see more of Manuel because he's tasked with doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets no respect whatsoever. I mean, the French Canadian accent is basically Manuel's wherever he was from, right? But that's the kind of humor that we were getting into Chris Ratz from this. And I freaking loved it.
Oh, I'm so there for it. Or kind of like the road trip movie. The really skinny guy.
Oh, DJ Qualls.
Yeah.
I can see that a little bit. No, it's more like Manuel vibes for me.
You know what? I loved his... Yeah, he was just happy to help. He was there for the band, no matter what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And if that meant...
But grumbling along the way, though.
But he was the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
He had to take care of the bodies.
Meanwhile, everyone else is getting turned into a vampire, and he's got to be the one to clean things up afterwards. Poor Hugo.
And just his descent to madness. He literally starts to get crazier and crazier until he got comfortable with his role in the end. He was like, oh, another cleanup.
But that's the thing, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it feels like he was written to be the Renfield to this band. And if that's the case, like we don't know Rob Stefaniak's mindset when he's creating these characters. So I don't know if he actually planned Hugo to be this Renfield-esque kind of persona. And if he did, that's smart. And if he didn't, just say you meant it and go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now we get to some of the more well-known names to our wider audience. And we get to someone who we've already talked about this month, Malcolm McDowell, who played Eddie Van Helsing. So go back to last week on this show when we talked about vamps, and Malcolm McDowell played Vlad Tepes. Now he's a Van Helsing. Also, the fact that he's Eddie Van Helsing in a rock movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Rob Stefaniak, you are a brilliant writer.
They knew the assignment.
He absolutely knew the assignment. But your thoughts on Malcolm McDowell in this?
I much preferred him in this role in this movie. He was so funny. Maybe even unintentionally, because you're supposed to be kind of afraid of him, but he was just so...
Are you?
He was afraid of the dark, so he was always traveling with a flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the interaction between him and the door bouncer of the club. He's like, why do you have a flashlight? I'm afraid of the dark. And the bouncer's like, I'm afraid of spiders, or whatever it was.
Oh my, do you know what that scene reminded me of?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, the cucumber incident?
The cucumber incident.
Okay, now we have to actually explain the cucumber incident. So
we went to go see Joey Belladonna at a solo performance here in Toronto.
What club was that?
Was that the Reverb?
Well, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but it was a club in Toronto.
The Reverb doesn't exist anymore. You can't get anyone in trouble.
And so I was coming straight from work. I was working like stupid hours, like 12 hours. And I was also following a very specific diet plan. So I had literally a baggie of cucumbers in my pocket. So when I was going through security, of course, they did the pat down and they find my bag of cucumbers. And I didn't even think of it, but I looked at the guy and I said, please don't take, this is my lunch. This is my dinner. I'm on a very strict regime of what I can and cannot eat. And it's literally all that I have. And I've been working 12 hours. Please don't take my dinner. And the security guard pulled out a mini baby cucumber out of his pocket. And he's like
not an English cucumber, one of the smaller ones.
Yeah. And he's like, it's okay. I got it. I'm like,
which think about this, right? It's one thing to be patted down and have like food in your pocket. I'm sure there are people at the airports that have had this happen a million times. We were flying out of Seattle one time and you had to get rid of your entire bottle of vitamin water because we couldn't get liquid through the security. That happens, right? But for the security guard of a rock and metal club to pull out his own cucumber, and I don't mean this in a weird way, I literally meant he pulled a cucumber out of his inner pocket like he was a dealer going, "It's okay, girl, I got you." What? The most random thing I have ever, the second most random thing I have ever seen in the lineup at a rock club right next to some guy randomly pulling up to a club outside of an Anthrax concert with a ukulele.
And singing If I Had a Hammer.
And then asking for tips. And he wasn't good. It was one of the coolest moments I think I've ever had with a club security. So, dear bouncers, pack your cucumbers. Someone out there is going to appreciate you. But yeah, no, the thing with Malcolm McDowell, I don't know whether I liked him more in this than I did in Vamps. They're two different characters entirely. Vamps, he was playing Vlad Tepes, but like reformed Vlad Tepes. Here, he's on the other side. He's vampire hunting. He's an ineffectual vampire hunter, but he's vampire hunting. And he doesn't do any, there's nothing about this film that gets into like any gore or any anger kind of thing. It's a light comedy.
And it's so funny how he teams up with, at this point, now the band of vampires to do away with the, what was he like, the king or the...
Yeah, so the
queen?
The whole premise is at one point, and by the way, spoilers like a mofo. This is where I have to put our spoilers, warning out right now. So the band wants to turn back from becoming vampires and return to being human. And the way they do that is to find the person that turned Jennifer into a vampire. If you kill the person, like the principal, right, then everyone else turns back into a human. Kind of the same thing that they did in Vamps when they killed Cicerus, so Goody and Stacy could become normal humans again. So now Eddie Van Helsing is teaming up with the winners in order to find Queenie so everyone else can become human again. So it's fascinating when you start to deal in films in the same genre and you see kind of like the same rules apply across those films.
Well, I guess at that point it's very much based on, like the Anne Rice vampire lore. And even Van Helsing is a well-known vampire hunter family. The lineage is there. We talked about this a bit in Vamps, where there are so many, like, again, it's vampire lore.
Yeah.
And there's so many similarities because it's following the same stories.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're dealing in a genre, sometimes a film brings their own angle to it. Like, look at the zombie genre, right? There are generally accepted rules as to what a zombie is and how they become a zombie. Every now and then, a book or a film kind of adds their own little spin on it. It's the same thing with vampires, right? We know about garlic. We all know about silver bullets. We all know about apparently this thing where, like, if you kill the person who turned everyone, then that kind of breaks the bond or whatever. I don't know who writes the rules. I don't know how they ever came to be, because we are talking about fictional characters. I just love that there seems to be this synergy amongst everything within the genre that they all kind of tip their hat to. And maybe it is Bram Stoker, maybe it is Anne Rice, whatever the case may be, the rules seem to carry across the board.
I like how Renfield had fun with it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the other thing, too. We're dealing with another Van Helsing, much like we did with Vamps, right? the Van Helsing bloodline, quote unquote, carries on. And there seems to be almost that tip of the hat to everything that came before. Like if you're going to have someone be in that role, well, maybe they are part of that bloodline. I'd be curious to see how many vampire films ever across all genres have a Van Helsing, have a Renfield, have something of that kind of, even if they're not there by name, they're there by reputation or by purpose.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Dimitri Coates, who played Queenie. Since we talked about Eddie Van Helsing, now we got to talk about the person who turned Jennifer initially. Your thoughts on him?
Creepy. Oh my God. From the first scene, I'm like, don't let your ex-girlfriend go off with this guy. Bad things are going to happen. You just know it. Like, come on. Did you not see it coming?
I mean, here's where I think, and I hate to say this is where I think the film falters a little bit.
Oh,
right.
I think he played it well.
I mean, he played it well enough, right? Now, admittedly, Dimitri Coates is actually a decent musician. He's played with a band called Burning Brides. He's actually played on a Chris Cornell album. He's an accomplished musician. So it makes sense that they put him in this kind of rock musical-esque, it's not a musical per se, but definitely a rock-themed kind of vampire film. But I mean, like, this is the guy that's supposed to be the boss level of the entire movie. So he turns Jennifer, and then he just off for the rest of the film. And then we don't see him again until the end of the film. And it's one of those weird things where I'm like, okay, so you got to come. And I don't care because we haven't seen him since the beginning of the movie. And I understand that the focus needs to be on Jennifer and Joey. I get that part. But they shelved him. They shelved him until they needed him again. And then the end scene was just like, meh.
Well, I think it's because the band was on tour. They weren't necessarily staying in the same town because they were making their way to New York. So the stopover in Niagara Falls, the stopover in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think, another, wasn't there?
Well, they started in Montreal, and she got turned in Montreal, and then they left her in Montreal because she didn't come back at the appointed time. Then they went to Toronto.
It was Toronto.
Exactly. Yep. So it went Montreal, Toronto, Buffalo, New York City.
Which makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, what was he supposed to do? Travel? Like...
And did they go back from New York City to Montreal in order to be able to do it? Like, was he there? Like, I don't know, right? That part just kind of felt like, oh yeah, we have to resolve this somehow. It would be interesting if they had him show up at every show and witnessing his new protege kind of thing. Kind of like how True Blood had, anytime Bill turned someone like Jessica, they kind of became glued to him.
Or even in a vision, like even just a flashback or some kind of like, I don't know, like scene where she remembers getting bit because he becomes present or they become connected, something, yeah. I don't know. Or maybe flashbacks show him turning someone else.
And maybe it's because the biggest part of him in this film is during that whole scene where they're turning her, and it's some weird that 70s show music video kind of vibe where he's like singing some weird song to her. I'm just like, what the hell's going on here?
See, here's the thing. If he turned somebody else, though, then wouldn't they have to turn back? Like, it just opens a whole can of worms.
It does. To the same token as well, though, it's like they made the whole turning Jennifer scene into a vampire into more like some weird Eyes Wide Shut cult thing, as opposed to just a vampire turning someone into a vampire.
But maybe that's the ritual part of it.
There is no ritual. If True Blood taught us anything, there's no ritual part to it.
We don't know that. We're not vampires.
No, we're not.
We are not vampires.
Dear listeners, we're not vampires. Don't be calling 911 vampire on us.
We can go out during the day.
Exactly. We try not to. Daylight sucks.
We don't have to feed off of people.
No. We just feed off your love. Iggy Pop, who plays Victor. This is the recording studio engineer that the winners go to. And it's freaking Iggy Pop.
I loved this role. I loved that he tried to warn Joey.
Mm-hmm.
He was so knowing. And yet, I don't know. Can I even say it? I don't know.
I've already said spoilers like a mofo. So anything that happened after that point is fair game.
I hate how it went down because he knew. He tried to warn him.
Mm-hmm. There's something so casual about Iggy Pop in this, though.
Oh, you know what? Because we've seen him in The Crow, the second Crow.
It was the second Crow, yeah.
He is a captivating actor.
Even in a crap film, Iggy Pop is still good.
He is. You know what? I think that's very much like, and we kind of talked about this when we were talking about Alice Cooper and his theatrics or his presence, stage presence, is I think that's a big part of it, is that really accomplished singers in a band or even anyone in a band, right? They have that theatrical presence.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely Iggy Pop, Alice Cooper. We'll even talk about him later, but
well, we're talking about him next. But
Alex Lifeson.
But the other thing too is that there's this danger with this character, right? Consider that Victor is this almost like he's got this like cobbled together studio, right? Nothing should work the way it should. It's very low budget kind of, DIY punk attitude kind of vibe to this recording studio that they're going to go record this song in. He could have played this so goofy and stupid, but he played it so naturally and so on the level that I think, you should actually tip your hat to him for not becoming too overly comedic. This is a comedy. This is a light, fun comedy. This is not the Crow City of Angels, where it tried way too hard to match the magic of the first The Crow. This is a fun comedy, but he didn't play it goofy and stupid. He played it on the level in a way that's just like, yeah, that's probably exactly how this weird retro hippie recording engineer would be.
What I liked about him, he was like an old road dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's seen it all, and he was so knowing, right? It's almost kind of like he's seen a lot of everything.
Yeah.
And he's seen it before. And he's like, take your band and your vampire girlfriend and get out of here. Take your album and your vampire girlfriend and get out of here.
You know who he reminds me of a little bit in this film? Admittedly, in a comedy version as opposed to a serious version. Julian Richlings, who played Bucky Height. This is from Hardcore Logo. This is the guy that Hardcore Logo went on the road in this Bucky Height kind of tribute. And then, because apparently, the main character, Joe Dick, said that Bucky Height had died, but really he's kind of living off the grid and out of the limelight kind of thing. And they come up to him. this is that Julian Richings kind of performance that he gave to Bucky Height in Hardcore Logo, just in a more comedic version.
I can see that, yeah.
Also, if you haven't watched Hardcore Logo, get your Canadian film on, people. Let's go. You mentioned him. We've talked about him. Alice freaking Cooper as the bartender. But there's a little bit more to this bartender than meets the eye.
So much more. He's so knowing. I loved how creepy he was in all of his scenes. I mean, let's be honest. He was Alice Cooper.
Yes.
Alice Cooper acting as Alice Cooper, acting as a bartender.
Mm.
But was he just was he just a let it slip? Was he just a bartender? Or was he a vampire?
Yes and yes, actually.
Yes.
And then that's the thing. Like as the bartender per se, when we first meet Alice Cooper in this film, it is very much like that Wayne's World kind of delivery, right? But then when we get into this weird nether realm kind of thing at the crossroads, right?
Where he was so knowing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you can decide your future.
You have this circling camera that's constantly following him. And his delivery of the dialogue is so spot on. Like, I appreciate that Alice Cooper is a fan of the macabre, that kind of Vincent Price delivery kind of thing. This is in that realm.
I have a question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Was he just a vampire or was he a dark angel?
No, he was a vampire.
But at the end?
He was a vampire.
A vampire with black wings. I've never seen.
Who do you think turned Queenie?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I so loved it. Even right up to the last scene. So knowing.
But there's the thing. This is a rock movie, right? And Alice Cooper and Iggy Pop combined. And that's just scraping the surface on this. We're just talking about the ones that are clearly noticeable. There's a bunch of cameos, like small cameos in this. We're going to talk to those about a little bit later. And ones where you have to wait till kind of the credits and go, holy crap, that was them. Because there were some of those.
Yeah.
You know, they're not necessarily all obvious. And for the most part, most of them only have like one scene. And it's just a moment where you go, huh? Alice Cooper is through this whole damn thing off and on. But I mean, if you're going to put a rock star in that role, you cannot pick anyone better. The only other person you would even think of is Rob Zombie. But even he would be second in comparison to an Alice Cooper.
You know what, though? Alice Cooper absolutely owned that role.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because of almost the comedy when he's first like introduced, or when he calls Joey by name,
mm-hmm.
and he lays out a shot for him and just kind of like, yeah, okay, I know we'll meet again. We'll meet again.
Yeah.
He was just perfect in this role. Just his calm demeanor, yet commanding performance. He was so great.
Yeah. And he just brought the same level of performance that Iggy Pop brought to this. So did Alice Cooper. And that benefits this film. Like, this movie is way better than any critic has ever given it credit for. And I think a lot of that comes from these very low-key performances from big names that give it the credence that you should. Like, if you're a fan of Iggy Pop or you're a fan of Alice Cooper, you're going to like this movie because it doesn't lean into them, but it's a quirky, fun, little cute film that just happens to have decent performances from, for lack of a better term, icons. Speaking of icon, and I don't think I'm far off in putting him in this category, Henry Rollins, who plays Rockin' Roger. This is the DJ that occasionally appears throughout the film until he meets an untimely end. Your thoughts on Henry Rollins?
He's almost kind of, in a way, not even a narrator, because he's not telling the story, but kind of that necessary evil that, he's the radio DJ of the radio station that's going to have the winners blow up.
Yeah,
right?
This is the New York radio DJ. Yeah,
this is their band's chance.
He's their Howard Stern.
This is their moment, right? And so he kind of like is intermittent through the movie. They'll go back to him every once in a while, and he's just like a crude radio DJ. I think when you said Howard Stern, kind of absolutely, that's
spot on,
perfect way to describe him.
But I think from a movie perspective and a script writing perspective, because it's not necessarily Howard, this is not Private Parts. We're not covering Private Parts, okay?
But I loved when he was interviewing the band, and he had no problem saying, "Winners, you guys," is that's like an ironic name, right? Like basically out and calling, like he's not a hospitable host.
No, he's a shock jock.
He
is. But I mean, I mentioned before, when we were talking about Hugo, and I mean, I'm not Rob Stefaniak. I'm not the writer of this film, right? So I don't know the thoughts that Rob Stefaniak had in creating some of these characters. And I wondered if Hugo was supposed to be the Renfield of the film kind of thing. And every now and then when you're writing a character in a movie or in a story kind of thing, you have this almost anchor point for the inspiration of what a character should be. And again, I don't know what Rob Stefaniak was thinking when he made this character, but I wonder if it kind of goes to this like Wolfman Jack American Graffiti kind of vibe, because the movie starts with Rockin' Roger on the microphone, and we kind of go back and forth. Like every now and then, he's almost like a scene changer.
You know what it reminded me of? Airheads, and the band that wanted to become big, and they took over the radio booth. And in fact, at first, the DJ was kind of an ass to them, and then eventually started to side with the band.
Yeah.
So this is kind of almost the same thing, but it didn't get to that point where he was really just an ass to the band and, mocking their music and their name until he comes to an unfortunate demise.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing too with Henry Rollins is that it's not immediately identifiable that it's Henry Rollins. Like you kind of have to wait till you get to the moment where the band actually gets to the radio studio to be interviewed by him that you're like, holy crap, it's Henry Rollins. But this is one of those situations where you're like, leading up to it's like, who the hell is this person? Why are we constantly going back to this DJ? Holy shit, it's Henry Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. And again, one of those little hat tip castings that gives this film so much more cred that people give credit for.
Didn't we have that holy crap, it's Moby minute too when we saw his name in the credits?
No, you know who had that holy crap, it's him moment? It's Alex Lifeson from Rush.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As the border security guy who just has, is grilling him, was like, I used to be in a band once. And it's like, oh, Alex Lifeson, you were a freaking gem. Dave Foley. Yeah. Kids in the Hall, Dave Foley as Jeff, the manager. Let's get our Canadiana on. Your thoughts on him?
As soon as I saw him in this movie, I'm like, yes, this makes it absolutely perfect. I would have liked to have seen more of him, though.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the first scene and then just kind of off and apparently hooked up with Joey's now ex-girlfriend.
Susan, yes.
And then we see him again at the end, and it's almost kind of like, I just love the okayness with, the band that he's promoting are all vampires. He's just okay with this. It's totally acceptable that they're feeding off of a groupie, and this is just how it is. There was no like weirdness or, he was just okay.
It's almost like, and I wonder if Dave Foley was cast before the role was fully written, or if they tweaked the dialogue or let Dave Foley kind of have his take on the dialogue, because it feels almost tailor-made for his kind of comedy. Like, I was totally getting News Radio vibes off of his role in this.
Oh my God, yeah. Or Kids in the Hall, too.
I think more News Radio, and that's the thing. Dave Foley has had a wonderful career post Kids in the Hall, and of course, like now coming back to Kids in the Hall. But it's that delivery that sells the almost aloofness of his character.
Can I just say, like, Canadian television and the history of Canadian programs.
Canadian sketchcom especially too.
Yeah.
Because even before Kids in the Hall, you had the Frantics with Four on the Floor.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
You know, SCTV too.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, like the whole I Like Me and John Candy.
That documentary is going to shed a whole another light on the old SCTV days. Yeah.
CanCon for the win. Like, makes me incredibly proud, because when you think about Canadian programming, we are not just the underdog. We've got some hella funny comedians, like Canadian born talent. And yeah, Dave Foley, absolutely. And he's a gem. Like, when I see him in a movie, I just know I'm going to love it. I know we're in for a great movie.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it's a bias, right? Maybe it's a bias because we do like a lot of these actors and the work that they have put together. So when you do see them on the screen, you get excited about it, right? That's part of loving movies, right? You appreciate the work that goes into these performances and roles and the writing and the directing and the cinematography and the music. And the minute that a familiar name pops on the screen or pops up in the credits and you're like, God damn, it's good to see them again.
You got to help me out with this, because there was another movie that we covered and Dave Foley was in it in a very small part.
Monkey Bone.
Thank you. And I was just like, oh my God, like, it's almost like reconnecting with an old friend.
It is.
Not
very
that we
much
knew
so.
him, not that we ever actually knew each other, but to see him on screen again is like, it's almost comforting, and you know you're in for.
Also, how bad is it that I remembered Monkey Bone right off the bat?
Yeah. But well done, actually.
Thank you. One more role to talk about in this is Nicole DeBoer. She of Star Trek Deep Space Nine fame, or if you're like us, Metal Tornado fame, as Susan. This is the current but now ex-girlfriend of Joey after Jennifer gets turned into a vampire. Thoughts on her?
Which kind of makes me wonder how they hooked up, because Joey seems to be, as I keep saying, in all jest, the lovable loser of a band.
Punching way above his weight, but yes.
A band called Winners, of a collection of also lovable losers. Their music, is solid, but at this point undiscovered. So how on earth?
How did Joey hook up with these girls?
How did he fail upwards to hook up with her? She was an actress.
Everyone loves a singer, apparently.
Was she in television or a sitcom?
I don't know if she was supposed to be like a model in this movie or if she was an actor kind of thing. So, because clearly she was doing some weird, I don't know what the hell she was supposed to be. I would assume model.
And she had money, though. She's like...
Yeah. So clearly she's a somewhat successful model, I assume. Dating the singer of this up and coming yet struggling band at the same time. That's how like, I can understand the relationship between Joey and Jennifer because they're in the same band. I get it. But the whole, this guy got a model?
That's my point. It's like, how did he fail upwards to connect with her? And then first of all, how did he connect with her? And B, why on earth would she leave Joey for the sleazy, slimy manager of Dave Foley? I love him, but...
I mean, that's sloppy seconds right there for sure.
But he was definitely like...
He's the rebound.
Yeah.
He's the revenge bang at that point. But the interesting thing, I mean, I understand if she's into his songs, but we never really established that.
Yeah, it was just kind of like at first when she's introduced, I'm like, oh, so they're dating? Like how, when she wasn't even at his show.
No, she's too busy to be at his show. I love her casting in this because, again, of course, it's a hat tip to Phil the Alien, of which she was in that as well. It's clearly Rob Stefaniak liked to work with his, with his friends. And if Nicole DeBoer is your friend, I think that's a good thing. But I think it also adds this level of credence to the role of Susan, right? Like, okay, so he and Jennifer were an item, they broke up kind of thing, and he ended up with Susan. So now you have someone who's a model, and, I guess I don't know whether he traded up or traded down or whatever kind of thing, but there's that tension because, of course, Jennifer's still in the band as well, which is why the only reason she wanted to go to the show is because he thought that they left Jennifer in Montreal. So I like the fact that they have that dynamic. I like the fact that he's on eggshells around everyone. Because really, let's be honest, Joey's on eggshells around Vampire Jennifer, pre-turned Jennifer, Susan, his manager, everybody. Poor Joey.
That's what I was saying. He's constantly stressed and he's trying so hard to establish rules and set boundaries, and yet it clearly, like, the rules get broken very quickly.
Yeah. There's an earnestness to his character that is just ridiculously likable and understandable at the same time. And I think having someone like Nicole DeBoer, a namer in her own right, as Susan, the girlfriend turned ex-girlfriend when things go south, it adds that level of credence to that relationship. And then the fact that, the jealousy towards Jennifer, especially when she's turned into a vampire. I totally get that. So we're almost done our Spooktember. It's been a short run, but a fun run. I'm going to put this out there. This has been my favorite movie so far of the entire run. Where does this sit with you so far? And yes, we're comparing it right now to Rockula and Vamps.
Every week has just gotten better and better and better. And this was supposed to be the underdog. I think when we were talking about the concept of Spooktember, it was kind of almost a lark. It was like, yeah, let's, find a bunch of vampire movies, or, previous to Halloween, let's kind of go with the more out there. It hasn't all, it's been all vampires.
Yeah.
We're going to need some zombies in there, or some Frankenstein or something.
We're going to get a little different, I think, next week.
Yeah.
And you'll find out when we get to next week. But we have come to the end of this episode. So, Carrie, when it comes to this little Canadian gem of a film, who's your MVP? I am really ridiculously curious to see who your MVP is, because normally I have an idea of where you're going to go. I have zero idea who your MVP is on this.
And I can't just say I freaking loved this movie and everyone in it.
No, there can only be one. No, wait, that's another show. That's another show. Who's your MVP?
I want to go with Joey. He played his part well.
Rob Stefaniak, yes.
But I'm not. And also the creator of this.
Writer, director, and star.
And songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
These songs wouldn't have existed. This entire movie wouldn't have existed without him. So I have to give him props. Mad props. And I'm sorry that it took us so long to watch this movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the thing, right? And dear listeners, just understand the life of a podcaster here. We have a whiteboard, we have notebooks, we have all these plans to eventually get to these movies. And I am so looking forward to each and every single one of them. But every now and then something gets up on the board, and then, it's like all of a sudden the shiny object comes into view and like, oh, let's go down that road, right? We're going to get every time every time we talk about a movie that we should cover, it goes into a notebook or on a whiteboard somewhere. So even movies that we talked about years ago that we are going to get around to it, we are actually going to get around to it. This was one of those ones. It's been on the whiteboard for a while. It's no longer on the whiteboard. We're clearing the whiteboard off. 2026, we have a plan.
Can I say it was so worth the wait?
Oh, what? It was.
I love this movie, and this is in my rotation. I have a few movies that I go back to, almost like comfort films.
I can see this being a comfort film because it's goofy, silly fun.
Yes.
And the music's pretty good too.
Yes. I think I have killed enough time. I got to go with Alice Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole Rob Stefanic, that was kind of a diversion. That was mad props.
Oh, you faked us out.
I did. I faked you. I was like, I can't end there because Alice Cooper being so good at being so creepy
and mysterious too,
and knowing, and so like he saw the future. He knew.
Is it weird? And maybe you'll agree or disagree with me. Is it weird that I listen to Alice Cooper's voice and I want to hear him narrate documentaries?
I was just gonna say, like, he was kind of the narrator of this film in a way because he knew the story before it played out.
I think the narrator, though, was more Henry Rollins as the DJ.
I was going to kind of say Iggy Pop.
A little bit.
He knew. He's like, 2 rules in a band. Like, don't.
Yeah, but Iggy Pop's more like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this film.
Mm.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't make it to the end of Star Wars, so I'm not far off there.
Well, there you go.
But he's not my MVP.
Who
Alice
is?
Cooper's not my MVP. Henry Rollins isn't my MVP. And even though I agree with you that Rob Stefanic should get a round of applause from everyone who's ever seen this film because of all the work that he put into this, even he's not my MVP.
It's Hugo, isn't it?
It is Hugo.
Oh my God.
Chris Ratz as Hugo. Because again, who's the funniest person on Fawlty Towers? It's Manuel.
Oh, wow.
There's something so genuine about Hugo's ambition and almost like his
servitude. He would do anything for this man.
He's the Renfield of this, right? And all he wants to do is be turned, and he's not turned. And whether it's intentional or not, I love how Rob Stefanic wrote this character, and I love what Chris Ratz gave to this character.
I love that. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked by it, but in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be Jessica Perret going into the film because I love what she did in Stardom. But no, Chris Ratz for the win.
I support that decision. I agree.
All right, Carrie, thank you for helping me get this off the whiteboard. It was well worth the wait. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way on a road trip that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast or go to our website at NotThatBadcast.com. And remember, we are just a short stretch away from October and our 200th episode. But until next time, she's Carrie. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.